Hey guys, it is Tristan with Nerdette's Newsstand, and we are back for another Bad Ideas. And as promised, we are going to talk about Batman vs. Superman. And I am much more excited one reason alone. How are you today, Bianca?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I am good. So I'm going to say right off the bat, I watched this movie once when it first came out, and the second time for this video, and it was much better.
It's much more enjoyable. Did you like it when you first watched it in the theater?
I don't think I understood a lot of it. I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't understand anything.
And I was like, okay, there are some complexities to this and ideas that are pretty decent. And I could see, and still, I'm going to go with the idea that wasn't Superman. This also wasn't Superman, but it's a great origin for Ultraman. Like, this could have worked out really well in that story direction. But we got to talk about that with it.
I mean, it's just a
Typical
Batman origin.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like was there's so many things in here where it's like you try to be cool, and because you can tell they're trying to be cool, it doesn't look cool. Where one of them was like the gun on the pearl necklace.
And you didn't like that?
No, because what was the point? He's supposed to steal the necklace.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like, if he's just gonna shoot her anyway, why does the pearl necklace need to be around the gun? Just for a cool effect. And then he gets scared and runs off.
The worst part about it is that wonderful opening scene was ruined when Bruce fell in the bat cave thing and he started rising.
I was like, oh man, we going anime now. Rise, Batman. You bat child.
It looks so bad. Like, I think it was in Dark Knight Returns where, and I'm pretty sure it was Dark Knight Returns, where the reason he uses the bat is because there was one that hit the window and it scared him so bad. And he used that idea of fear. Not that he rose and a bunch of bats like swallowed him up and helped him get out of a well. That was horrible.
It was really bad. I'm like, oh gosh.
I couldn't believe they went with that like right off the bat. It is like the opening was sad. Like they did a good job of conveying emotion. But one thing, when they switched over to the desert scene, when they're are they in Africa? India?
Yeah. Nairobi, Africa.
They wasted Jimmy Olsen. Completely wasted him. I don't know.
One, he still wasn't a redhead. Whether they make him white or black, they don't want him to have red hair. What's with this
ginger genocide?
and
he was way too hot.
I was gonna say that. Dang it, Tristan! I was gonna say you're too hot to be Jimmy. I was texting that in my DM group, who some of them like Zack Snyder movies, and I was like, okay, so here's my problem. He's too hot, and there's a majority of guys on there.
He's not that quirkiness either. You know what I mean? Like how Jimmy's kind of like, I guess quirky's not the nerdy. He's not got that aura about him.
To be with some of the dialogue. He's like, hey, that's my camera. That's my film. Oh wow, this is my property. And, I'm like, okay, dial it down, bud. And then of course you realize he's from the CIA.
Did they ever call him Jimmy, or was that just in the credits?
That was in the credits, and he called himself Jimmy Olsen.
And, okay, just so we're clear, we watched two different versions, so I just want to make sure. She watched the extended cut. I watched the theatrical cut. But another thing
we should have decided on that.
I know!
I'm sorry.
I'm like, it's on Amazon. I use Amazon Prime, and I'm like, it's $4. Click. Like, I didn't know.
I used my cousin's Voodoo account, and I'm like, oh, there's an extended cut? I might as well watch that. Then realized it was an extra hour, and I'm like, crap, I screwed myself.
It was long to get through on the theatrical cut, let alone, like, it felt long. Whereas the Batman didn't feel long, this movie felt long. Unfortunately so. The pacing was off or something. It just drug. But another one I wanted to ask about, because I didn't know if they said it in maybe the theatrical cut, but did they name Lex's kind of henchman, right?
Mercy.
No, not Mercy. I knew they named her, but the guy, the motorcycle guy, that's KG Beast. Why did they not name him KG Beast?
The Russian guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think they just went by his maybe first or last name. It's Anatoly something. But that was KG Beast. I looked it up last night because I was curious. And I'm like, that's a waste of another character. Like, they killed him by the end, too. KG Beast isn't, like, that great character, but he shot Dick. He's the one that's responsible for Rick Grayson.
Oh, okay. Then what? That sounds familiar now. I'm like, where have I heard KG Beast before?
I mean, I get it. Like, he was a good... And he was another one that was distractingly hot. I'm sorry. He was. Like...
It was just his best hair.
And I kind of laughed at the beginning. I'm like, they're in Africa, but there's a motorcycle gang. Like, did Sons of Anarchy show up? It made sense once I realized it was all coming, because I didn't even remember that it was Lex, and I've seen this movie before. But I was like, what's going on here? Like, really, honestly. And then I realized Lex's plan was to kill everyone and blame it on Superman. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty much what Lex would do. What did you think of Lex, by the way?
I remember hating him in the movie theater. I did have a better respect for him, but as like a villain that should have been not Lex Luthor.
So I thought he was very Lex, and I thought he had the best dialogue of the whole show.
Yeah, I was realizing, I'm like, oh wow, I thought all of your dialogues were like pretty stupid before, but you actually do have some good dialogues. Just some of them that never. There's a couple of hits and misses with his dialogue.
His dialogue was either really good or it was like, I'm 14 and this is deep. Like, there was one line I posted on my community post last night. It was so good, where he said, if God is all powerful, he cannot be all good. If he is all good, he cannot be all powerful. Because he was abused as a child. So that's how he looks at God. And I'm like, yeah, I can see how somebody could think that. You know what I mean? Like, I can see where that thinking comes from. And I thought that was really good. I actually liked Lex much better the second time around.
Mm-hmm. Besides, like, the attitude was like, it's pretty spot on. I just hate the way he talks. And I'm like, and whenever you talk, I don't think Lex Luthor. When I think of your plan, I completely think of Lex Luthor.
Yeah, and it was like
separating my mind in between takes.
It was almost like he was overly doing the quirkiness. Yeah. Had he toned that back a bit, I think it would have worked. He also like did that creepy, like, eat my cherry Jolly Rancher thing.
That was so gross, man. And not only that, but his thumb touched that guy's mouth, and then he put it in his mouth. And I'm like, ew, bro. In this COVID economy?
Yeah. Is this like, was that like a power play or something? Like, I didn't understand the idea behind it, but it was so weird. I did like Mercy. I wish she would have had a better role, though, and not been murdered.
I hated that so much. I'm like, really, bro? Really? You're gonna kill the person who literally helps you and all that stuff? I didn't even remember her first time watching the movie. I'm like, who the heck is this tall Asian? And they're like, oh, it's Mercy. And I'm like, that's Mercy, bro. She's Asian now. She's been Asian washed.
She was black in the Titan show also. So they kind of like keep it ambiguous with her. But like, I just wanted to give her a steak.
She's not always blonde?
Is Mercy blonde? I thought she was brunette.
I might be thinking of the DC animated series and movie.
Oh, yeah.
Been blonde. I mean, in the quote unquote reboot Superman Man of Tomorrow animated movie, where they were starting to do this whole different animation direction, like, she was blonde hair, had these big pants and boots. She didn't have a shirt. She just had X's on her nipples.
I remember you telling me that. Like, I've seen her blonde. I remember she was blonde, like, in the golden era. Like, it's been a long time, but they've kind of, she's one of those that's like background so ambiguous that she can fit any profile, really, right?
Well,
like,
apparently Robert told me she's an Amazon.
What? I mean, I don't doubt it. He knows everything about that, but
she's an Amazon. And I was like, how did she leave Paradise Island? And he was like, she snuck off. And I'm like, seems legit. And he's like, well, how do you think she like faces against like Harley and all that stuff? And I'm like, that makes sense. She's like, how do you think she's like a bad A? And I'm like, that's true, I guess.
I wonder if that was during like the President Superman or Luthor stuff. I bet it was.
Unfortunately to me, like I didn't find out she was Mercy until like way later. I thought she was like his secretary because she doesn't really do much.
Yeah, she's not the Mercy from the comics. She's just kind of his lackey. But I really, and the actress did a great job with it. The whole, like, there are things that are distracting to me, like KGB's being super hot, and hers was like, I felt like I really wanted to give her a home cooked meal. She was so skinny. Like, I couldn't picture her being the Mercy in the comics for that reason. You know what I mean? Like the actual, like, badass fighting Mercy Graves that we know from the comic. Maybe she could pull it off. I liked her look though. She looked very sleek and very like stoic almost.
I was gonna say sophisticated.
What did you think of, sophisticated is a good word too. What did you think of Batman in this movie? A lot of the beginning of this is Batman.
It was so fast and funny.
It was like, you guys had this scene shot for shot perfect, and then you made him go paranormal. What the fuck?
So like I have to understand. So like the guy that he branded and stuff, he was doing the trafficking or at least helping with the trafficking.
Yes.
So like, why would I care if he dies just because he had a wife and kids?
Are you talking about the branding stuff?
Yeah, but also the person in general.
I get that, but that's...
Wait, did you see that? Did you see that he had a wife and kid?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
He has a wife and kid.
Okay, so that was in the extended. So the guy has a... Wait, KGB's or the guy in that scene?
The guy in that scene.
Okay.
The trafficker who was branded by Batman. After he passed, Clark went to visit the... what was it, a hospital or something? And he's like, hey, I'm here to ask about the blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, we can't disclose that information. Oh, wait, I believe it was the police station. And so he left, and then he sees a woman leave with a child. And he was like, hey, was that your husband? Like, I have some questions. And she was like, ugh. Like, he may have, done what he done or whatever, but he was also a husband and a father. And I was like, dang, he's doing all this sketchy stuff. And
yeah.
Like, I don't feel bad for him. He was a criminal. Like, look what he did to those little girls, bro.
Yeah, not only was...
I don't remember. They were probably like teenage, adult age, something like that. And
they were
I'm
young.
sorry, I don't have sympathy for your husband just because he has you and a son. But
I see, yeah, that wasn't in the thing I seen, but it wouldn't help anyways, because you're right. You can have sympathy for typical criminals that may steal or something, because, a lot of time poverty creates criminals, right? Or they're stealing for their family or something like that. You don't human traffic and want sympathy. Like, what about sympathy for all of those girls that were taken and their families? Come on now.
That's what I was not understanding. And I'm like, I don't understand why you would feel this way if your husband did that stuff. What your husband did was wrong, and you're justifying it.
Yeah.
Taking the whole Hispanic thing, family thing too far, man.
What did you think of the branding, though? Like how Batman used it as branding in order to get them killed in jail?
I didn't understand that. How does that get them killed? What would motivate them to kill that person if they were branded?
I'm assuming because, the old kind of, not saying, but the old ideal that, people get killed in jail if they're pedos or the worst of the worst, right? They get killed in jail because even if those people are criminals, they're not going to fuck with kids. They're not going to fuck with, and I think that was the idea of it, was they were human trafficking. And we don't know those girls' age. So the idea that he branded them was to get them, I don't know if he necessarily started out that way, but it got them killed in jail. And that is something I don't think I can see Batman doing that.
No, definitely not.
That's like, Batman in this, like, as a whole, was better, but he was also a complete fucking psychotic murderer. Again.
He killed somebody with his car.
Multiple people with his car on purpose and then dragged the car to kill other people.
There was this, I don't know if this scene was in yours, but there's a scene where he takes a detour, and then KG Beast was like, where is he? Where'd he go? And then Batman's car is literally on top, and it's flying. And
yes.
There's 3 people, and it hits somebody on the head, and then that person's gone. And I'm like, holy crap, you just killed that guy, man. A brutal death for him.
And in the warehouse scene also, like, he has no problem murdering over and over again.
Somebody told me that he wasn't using bullets. He was using, I don't know what those bullets are called. Soft bullets. Rubber bullets.
I mean, rubber. Like yeah, and non-lethal rounds.
Yeah, but then you see him use other people's guns to kill people. And I was like, okay, sure, buddy.
And there is, like, that is one of Batman's things, is not only does he not kill, but he doesn't like guns. That's been established since, excluding the first couple issues when he did use guns. But since then, they have not. And he doesn't like guns. That's what killed his parents. He thinks it leads to a lot worse things. And this Batman's just like, all right, I'll use yours because it's not mine. Like, the fucked up thing to me always is, like, he has no problem killing the lackeys.
He cracked somebody's neck too, by the way.
Oh, I missed that. I would have totally wrote that down. But, like, all the lackeys die, and then the main bosses get taken in. Like, Lex got taken in to go to jail and live, but all of his lackeys die. Like, how fucked up is that?
I mean, he's going to be transferred to Arkham. So,
do you remember?
That could be a worse punishment.
I think I remember, and I don't know. Did your movie have an end credit scene?
My movie did not have an end credit scene. I was looking for it. I'm like, oh, no end credit scene? Well, probably because it was another freaking hour.
Do you remember? Mine didn't either. But there was an end credit scene released with Deathstroke. You remember seeing that?
No.
I'm going to see if I can find it, because it actually made it make a lot of sense. It's Batman, but here's this part. Hold on.
I was going to say, that's actually extremely similar to the extended cut, but it was different.
Oh, okay. I don't need to fast forward. Yeah, because in the other one, it was Batman showed up. So you said he was getting transferred to Arkham. He's got Arkham on, so this must have been after he was transferred. I'll give it to him. I don't think that Slade Wilson would let him be called good boy.
No, I was like, yo, you're treading with that.
But that's still pretty cool. I would love to have seen him play Deathstroke. Like, he looks good in that role. I forget his name, but he was in
How dare you?
True Blood too. He was a werewolf. You would love it.
Description?
I don't know, probably. Let me look. But yeah, I mean, I could have seen him or them continuing this in a way, but have you seen, I'm not going to make you watch it, I promise. Have you seen the Zack Snyder Justice League?
Nope.
Like, if we're supposed to see that, we don't. It's Joe Manganiello. Manganiello, maybe.
Sounds delicious.
I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but we don't. Besides in that, like, nightmare scene, I don't remember seeing him at all. What'd you think of the weirdo nightmare scene that didn't make sense in my thing, but I'm sure it made more sense in the extended cut?
I mean, during the dream, I think it was still the same. Just said, Lois Lane, she's the key. Am I too soon? I'm too soon. And then he wakes up and then just looks up Wonder Woman.
I love that, like, in that nightmare scene, they just don't even fuck around anymore with Batman. They're like, he's going to have a couple guns. He's going to use a couple guns. And I get it. It's post-apocalyptic. I'm okay with it that way. But I think Ben Affleck looked really good in the nightmare scene. This nightmare scene, I didn't really, besides like, obviously it's evil Superman, which I'm super sick of, but this was not near as bad as the nightmare scene from the Snyder Cut, Justice League. Oh my God, it's so bad. Like,
I just realized that Henry Cavill Superman literally just turns to Injustice Superman at the end.
Yes, and he literally says, "You took Lois from me." Like, this is Injustice Superman.
From me. And the thing is, like, a long time ago, 2020 probably, there was an interview he did, and 2020, 2019, something like that. And he was like, "Oh, I hope for my Batman to be like," he said he didn't mind the whole killing thing in the first movie because he hoped that later on he would become the Christopher Reeves Superman. And I'm just looking at all this and I'm like, you were never supposed to be, whether in Josh Whedon's Justice League or in Zack Snyder's Justice League, you were never supposed to be the Christopher Reeves Superman. And I'm sorry about that. And watching the Batman versus Superman, I'm like, you're still not going to be. I don't have to watch the Justice League to find out that you're never going to be the Christopher Reeve Superman like you wanted. I'm sorry.
No, and that's a shame too, because I think Henry Cavill does a good job in the role. I do.
I liked his acting a lot better in this one than the first one. His chemistry with Lois Lane is a lot better in this one.
I love that scene where he gets in the tub with her. I think that's so cute. Like, it's just the little romantic gestures that make their chemistry better. We didn't see her naked though.
No, I saw her boob jiggle though.
Boob physics.
I saw Batman's butt.
I still haven't seen that yet. I will within 15 minutes of being done recording. Just wanted to let everyone know. But I thought their chemistry was better. I thought she was less of a damsel in distress and like less thirsty because she already had the prize she wanted. So I do think she did much better. Like everybody did. There was also one really weird scene that I hated. And that's when not the second nightmare scene with Superman, but the first one where he goes to his, like the mausoleum where his parents are. And it starts bleeding. And then like this terribly rendered man bat, I think it is. It looks so bad. I was like, why not just have a bunch of bats fly out or something? It was so bad. And then Alfred.
It was him.
What'd you think of Alfred?
Oh, I thought Alfred was great. There was one line I was like, oh my gosh. And that was like Bruce saying to Alfred, like, after everything that happened, he was like, Alfred, I don't deserve you. And then Alfred, in a really angry tone, he's like, you're right, you don't. And I'm like, gosh dang, bro. That made me feel so bad. But it's also like, I understood it because he was trying to give him advice and Bruce was just ignoring it, you know, with the whole 1% chance thing. And I'm like, nah.
I love how Alfred, like 2 or 3 times was like, you need to find a woman.
I didn't remember the theme song there when I first watched it.
The Wonder Woman one?
Yeah.
Wonder Woman was another really good addition to this. Like, she helped the movie so much. Like, just her presence helped the movie. She looked great in the gala scenes where she's dressed up. She looked wonderful. But when she shows up, when they start fighting Doomsday, like that, I don't know that I would have liked the movie near as much without her. Like, I love her theme. Her music is great. And it like gets you hyped. You know what I mean? Like, you know a fucking fight is coming. You know it's going down when Wonder Woman has her badass music show up.
I realize a lot of women here wear a lot of like weirdly open clothes.
You mean like her dresses?
Her dresses, and then like the other females. And I'm like, some of your attires are kind of weird, to be honest.
I loved her dresses. I think they're beautiful. Like, I like that open back one where it's like silvery. Oh, it's so pretty. I like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman anyway. So when I see her in that role, I'm going to be happy. You know what I mean? Like, still, out of all of these Snyder era movies, Wonder Woman was the best, but this was better. It definitely was. It just felt like
Debatable.
some of the characterizations is what messed this up. Like, it really did. Like, Perry is not Perry. Like, nothing against the actor again, but like, he's like so upset about him wanting to do actual detective work or investigative journalism work in Gotham to find out about what's going on. And he's like, no, do football or something. Like, make it make sense. Perry should want, like, as somebody that's doing an actual newspaper, wouldn't you think that's what their jobs were, to look into stuff like that?
Like, apparently, from like when Lois was like, I need a chopper and I need it right now, and he's like, we can't afford that, and I'm like, what? And then throughout the movie, I realized that there has been signs that the Daily Planet is not good financially,
right?
Because people don't buy the papers anymore,
right? I did like how he said, it's not for, when she said about needing to get to Gotham with the chopper, and she's like, it's not for work, and he's like, go. Like, I thought that was cool.
That was super cool. But it makes sense on why he really wants, like, rather controversial stuff that sells, or something that is like 100%, even whether it's true or not. As long as you got the sources and it's an interesting story and blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, I can understand it, but I don't like it.
Right. And he's like, crime wave in Gotham. Also, water is wet. Like, I thought that was a good line.
That was a great one.
And then Jenny returns. Like, my favorite character out of Man of Steel was there.
Yeah, Jenny. One thing I didn't understand was, like, Clark was so into, like, trying to divert people into the whole Batman situation. And I'm like, first of all, you're a reporter. Shouldn't you, like, be saving yourself right now from bad press and everything that happened? Yeah. Like, you're so focused on Batman. And when Lois comments about it, he's like, well, I mean, I didn't kill those people, so it's fine. And I'm like, well, no, because people are thinking of you as a negative light because of bad press and things that are happening on purpose. Hello. You're a journalist. Like, did they show any type of journalism in the regular cut?
Yeah, it showed her more on Lois's side, where no, not from Clark.
Okay, so I guess it was only in the extended cut.
Like, it showed the stuff with Lois with the bullet and trying to find out the source of it, and then talking to the senator, or maybe he's a colonel. I don't remember, but. Other than that, no. And I thought they did a good job. Like, one of our complaints about Man of Steel was that her only journalism was towards Clark. But it's the same in this also, but also different. Because she's actually trying to investigate a situation. I thought it was done better, even if it was surrounding Clark. Like, she really goes hard. Like, she walks into the man's bathroom and he's like, you've got bigger balls than most people in here. I'm like, yeah. I like this Lois.
I like this Lois too. I'm like, okay, a lot better.
Another thing I thought was, what did you think? The piss in the jar. We got to talk about the piss in the jar. That was so gross. And she knew something was wrong. And another thing about that scene where she
touched the lid, and I'm like, you don't touch the top part, bro. Disgusting.
Yes, and I just feel like that was a huge oversight on Superman's fault. Like,
yes,
they could have explained it away that he cased it in lead and Superman looked right.
Okay, but it's like in that scene, like, I could have, when I was seeing it in the extended cut, I was thinking if something was wrong, because I remembered specifically of him using his X-ray vision on the what's it called? The wheelchair.
Yeah.
And then it exploded. And then I'm watching the movie and I'm like, oh crap, did I literally just have a Mandela effect? And that never happened, because people are saying there was lead in there.
That's what I thought initially too, but at least in this one, he just says he wasn't looking.
Well, just because you're not looking doesn't mean you can't hear.
Yeah, you're right. There would have been some sort of timer.
They are so inconsistent with his hearing power. Lois, like after being pushed off the rooftop, just screams, "Ah!" and then he's there. She is in the underwater drowning, and she's like banging on the whatever, and you can't hear that. But he heard it and immediately went to save her. But you can't hear a chair that has a bomb?
Yeah. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And
I thought he was using his hearing power because the way they were using the effects, they were making the effects really loud. Like when she's moving the tea, when she's touching, or the urine, whatever, when she's touching the glass and the glass is moving, it's really, really loud. So I thought he was using his hearing power, and he looks so confused. And I'm like, well, you're not, and I'm like, you couldn't hear the chair unless this was just for a cool effect again, which would make no sense unless you're using hearing power just for a cool scene.
Yeah, I get it. Like that was, I guess, a plot device they didn't want to explain away too much because then they'd have to take that away. But there are ways around that, right? Mm-hmm. There are ways to mask that, and they just kind of completely ignored the idea of lead, and that's already been established. Wasn't that established in Man of Steel? Or am I thinking
Man of Steel of lead?
Yeah.
Lead. I could have sworn they did, but I didn't remember if it was. I don't think it was public though.
That's true. I don't know. It just seems like there was a better way to go about explaining that, and I'm not like a writer. I can't say I would have done better, but I thought there was a better way of going about that whole scene. What did you think of the fight between Batman and Superman?
Unnecessary. My second time watching. When I was a kid, looking at it was super cool. It was still super cool, you know, but realizing that they legit just could have talked irritated me. Like he literally was like, hey, Lex is the problem. Batman gets something to try and shoot him, and he's not affected by it, really. And he's like, you don't understand. And then Batman's like, I understand completely, or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, you guys are face to face. Clark explained that he has your mother captive.
He didn't. He went after him.
And just pushed him. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You gotta explain. You're initiating the fight.
Yes, and I thought the exact same thing. Like, why you didn't even you didn't even try. Like, you kind of started the conversation, but you could have pushed harder. And he kept following him. Right? He kept walking towards him. Stand still. Tell him what's going on. It's Batman. He would have at least listened. But no, we had to wait for the Martha.
Like his mother's name. He literally had the power to grab his suit, put him in a hold, and say, here's the deal, man. He has a woman named captive named Martha. So in like this whole killing you, blah blah blah. I need you to go save her. Like, and the fact that he told Lois like he's rather with me or I kill him, and I'm like, no.
That was so not Superman. Like when he said that, I seriously like groaned out loud. He either listens to me or I kill him. Like, you're gonna really laser off his head. Like, I get you want to save your mom. I totally understand that. But come on now, like that did not.
Where is she?
Like that Martha scene will go down in like infamy just because it's like, why did you say that name? I hate it, but I get why he said the name instead of my mom because it triggers a memory in him. But like, come on.
Bruce is so traumatized that apparently the only person named Martha is his own mother. There's no other woman around the world named Martha. I'm sorry. This is just Bruce's standards.
I love
he's
how
like 50 something in this version, but the only Martha that matters is his own mother.
Who hasn't been around for 40 years, but you know, I guess that's all that matters. I do like how they, like, I don't know if they did this on purpose or if it was an accident, but he hit him with everything, right? Yeah. Even the kitchen sink. I thought that was funny. I don't know if they did it on purpose, but like that old adage, you know, everything in the kitchen sink. I thought that was fucking hilarious. Like it literally got a chuckle out of me because I'm like, they had to do that on purpose, right? They had to. Maybe not. I don't know. There was another really good lie a good line I wanted to mention that Lex said, and I thought it was another really good one, more related to like at least politics in a way. He said one of the oldest lies is that power can be innocent, and I thought that was really cool because when I debated Joseph Santos on this, I said, absolute power corrupts absolutely. But in Clark's stance, it absolves him. So he's saying, power cannot be innocent. And this is where they should have shown that power could be innocent, and its name is Clark Kent. Its name is Superman. But they didn't go that route. Like,
oh, there was a scene. I don't know if it was in the original. So after the whole exploding that happened in the what was it, the judge office or something like that, court.
mm-hmm.
Honestly, I will say that before I go there, that I did actually feel a lot more for Henry Cavill's acting, like when he was sad and he was crying during the entire fire going around him. I'm like, okay, I'm actually feeling your acting, and I feel like you're actually sad this time instead of the first movie. But after that, Lois is like home wondering where he is because she's calling him, and then he's in the balcony and she like opens the window or whatever, and he's there and he's explaining that the reason the way he is because of his father and his father's morals and what his father taught him, and he's realizing that his father's way is not the right way, but he still completely does it, doubles down in the movie.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. Did that scene where his dad shows up, where he just goes for a walk, like he's upset and he goes for a walk, the Superman without hope, goes for a walk, his dad shows up and then he leaves. Did that make more sense in the extended cut? Because that whole scene could have been cut in the regular one.
Well, before the walking, that's he, after he was saying that what his father taught him like wasn't probably the correct way, and then he goes into the mountain. I'm like, okay, yeah, there's the correlation and stuff, but I still feel like I can see how it was supposed to be needed after he just said all of that. But was that in your version where
he sees his dad and he tells us, oh no, no.
When, he's talking to Lois in the balcony saying how the way his father taught him is not the right way.
I think he says something to Lois on the balcony, yeah, and he flies away.
Yes, but I feel like that's the majority of their scenes.
Yeah, that's true. But like the whole scene to me felt like the story was they saved their farm from being flooded only to realize that they flooded the Leng farm. How did that change his mind at all to go back? I didn't understand.
Remember. I was like, after a while, I was like, okay. Oh, hey, look, I have a comic book. That came in, and I'm like, oh, wait, I'm supposed to be paying attention to the movie. Okay, I'm here. And then, like, I probably missed some stuff that's not important anyway.
The whole scene didn't make sense to me at all. I was like, okay, I'm either missing some context here, or I don't know. Like, I thought that was silly. But like, they could have put that scene in for him to make, kind of cement the idea that his father's way doesn't work. But they didn't really do that. Like, I don't know. It was weird to me. Like, I would say
angry, so it's always justified.
Yeah, I guess. You wouldn't like him when he's angry. What did you think of Doomsday?
Gross.
Yeah. He looked better when he got more like spiny, right? After they hit him with a nuke. But I was not a fan of the design. Like, they could have done better.
Smoothly gross. Also, what's Doomsday's origin?
Pretty much the same. Pretty close.
Pretty much the same. So Lex Luthor just puts his blood in General Zod and just creates a monster.
He basically creates a monster to under Project Cadmus, and it's a sample from Clark's genetic material, not Zod's, but it's still Kryptonian. And he makes like a bad clone, kind of how he does Bizarre, like a little bit, but like instead of making a perfect clone of Clark to take him down, he makes one that's genetically modified. But it's not sad. No, I mean, I like how they add, like, they almost make it, you know, Superboy, how he's Clark and Lex.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
This is the same, but it's just Clark and they modify it.
Okay. Oh, is the blood for resurrecting?
I think the blood was to modify it and make it all funky.
Ew. What his children would look like.
Like, and in that scene, was he crying because Zod was dead, or was he crying because it hurts?
I was wondering that too. I'm like,
he was really emotional.
I was like, dang, he's really crying for this guy. And I was like, wait, is it because he slashed his hand pretty hard? I don't know.
He was super emotional, and I'm like, oh my God, like you, okay, all right. I do think Lex's plan makes sense from a cynical standpoint, right? He wants this kryptonite because he doesn't know what could happen. They could have another issue, like with what happened with General Zod. And I actually think it's more like Batman to do that. Batman does that kind of shit all the time, right? Like where he has secret weapons to take people down. It makes sense. And actually, I think it was smart. But then I can also see the government backing it. Like, I can totally see the government being like, yeah, that's cool. We need to be safe. And that lady was like, nah. No. I liked her, though. She had a weird voice. I liked it.
Oh, so... Wait, did you see The Incredibles?
No.
Dang, she plays a superhero from that movie.
Oh, does she really? I love her. Like, I like when people have unique voices that make them, you know, stand out a little bit, and she definitely does. It was kind of...
Right? I was like, yo, the way she talks, it's like, it's weird, but I kind of dig it. And then Robert was telling me, that's Elastigirl. And I'm like, that's Elastigirl! I love Elastigirl! Oh my gosh, you would love Elastigirl physically and mom like. I don't know. Maternally, yes. Everybody will tell you she's maternal in all the right places.
I've seen memes. Trust me, I've seen memes. I don't know. I thought overall there was one more scene I wanted to talk about for sure. When Lois, you know, you were talking about the scene where she was banging and he hurt her. That gave me such bad anxiety. Like, when she went down there to get that, I have a huge, like, ridiculous fear of anything in the water. And my heart, I had seen this scene before, but my heart was still pounding. Like, the idea of drowning to me is so frightening that scene just, like, fucking paralyzed me. And then when they show Aquaman, it's ridiculous how bad I am scared of water. When they show Aquaman, and he comes out and his eyes are glowing. Oh my God, that's actually like scary looking.
I didn't see his eyes glow.
Oh, they were glowing in the back. It was terrifying, Bianca. It was terrifying. And then he takes off and I'm like, holy fuck, I'd be dead. Like, I would die of shock. What did you think of Ezra? Like, I know we didn't get to see him very much, but like that little clip we got to see and then him, I guess, saying I'm too early and shit. What'd you think of him in this?
He seemed to act better in the security footage.
Yeah, and I still don't understand to this day why Cyborg was in the Justice League.
Oh, because of, well, this is going from the New 52 when Cyborg was in the Justice League, yeah?
Yeah, I know, but this is a daily reminder to all the Snyder bronies that are listening that hate me. Cyborg doesn't need to be in the Justice League. Cyborg is a Teen Titan. Cyborg.
That's how I knew him, from the cartoon. So
I've never been a huge Cyborg fan. I will say that Ray Fisher in the Justice League Snyder cut did wonderful, though. He made that character really come to life. But I just was like, I think also it has to do with Jeff Johns. I'm pretty sure he's a big Cyborg fan. And I think he wanted him in it. Like, Cyborg just to me is so boring. Like, put Vixen in there. Put somebody that's fun. Put somebody that, like,
Vixen!
Or like Green Arrow. Green Arrow's a badass. Badass. I don't know. I those scenes to me were like, I don't know why. They just give me such bad anxiety. I also noticed that like towards the end, like I kind of wanted to be a smartass, but then it started to get better. Like they had like the men be a little incompetent as compared to the women. I was like, they're kind of running circles around you guys. Like Wonder Woman and Lois are the ones that are like truly taking lead here. And then Superman does save the day. Like he would not be able to fly with that kryptonite sword. I'm sorry, he wouldn't.
I was like, is it because it's a little bit far away, or he's like forcing himself?
Probably.
And
I think it's a little both.
Throw the spear.
Would have been smart.
And then try to jam himself like into the spear. Like there's some like, how do I explain it? There's some like animated scenes or whatever. Like, hey, somebody throws a spear into somebody's chest, right? And then they go running or flying or whatever, and then they put their foot on like the back of the spear and they just push it towards towards their chest. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was gonna happen. I'm like, oh snap, this is gonna be so cool. And I'm like, nah, it didn't happen. I'm like, dang it. I remember talking to Robert, and he was like, they don't really deserve Superman's death, especially in the second movie. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. I personally don't remember him dying.
Like, I think they didn't do the whole like foot on the spear thing because they wanted to show that moment where he pulls himself more in. Yeah, and I thought that was like very Superman. That's very cool. Like, it's heroic. It's got to be like the worst pain you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that was cool.
I did enjoy that.
But,
wait, I didn't enjoy it like that. Don't get it twisted.
But like, there were ways to save Superman in this. That would have worked perfectly. I did like, and now it did not make sense the first time, but when Lex is talking, not in the scene we watched earlier, but the scene that was at the end of the actual movie where he says the bell has been rung. Mm-hmm. That makes sense now. From that to Justice League. Because at the very beginning, basically the bell being rung is that now Earth doesn't have its protectors, and that's why Steppenwolf comes. Now it makes sense. It didn't make sense the first time I watched it. And without seeing Justice League, it doesn't either. Like, It just sounds like crazy-ass Lex rambling.
I was thinking the entire time that he could have just passed the spear to Wonder Woman, who's not really affected by that.
Yes, absolutely. And we know from Wonder Woman 1984 that she can already fly.
Apparently not in this movie.
That doesn't make sense.
Her sword can even stop him. Yeah. And he sliced an arm off, even though he like grew it back or whatever.
Yes, absolutely. But the thing is none of that would have made sense for what Snyder had in mind for the third movie. So they couldn't do what made sense, what was logical. They had to go with the illogical and have him sacrifice himself. And even when he does sacrifice himself, I feel like with what went down in the desert, with what went down in Man of Steel, I don't know that it would be very divisive as to if they were honoring him as this massive hero. Like, there would definitely be those that honored him in that way. But there would also be those out there, those cynical people that are like, this dude's a fucking murderer. Like, why should I care? Like, yeah, he saved the Earth, whatever. Like, and oh my God, I got to mention this because it was so bad. Batman goes, he's on this island that's not habited, right? There's no people there. Mm-hmm. Nobody's dying when he goes off. I gotta have him follow me back to Gotham. What? I get it. Go get the spear and come back. Like, you want him to follow you to Gotham where there's people everywhere. It made no sense. Like, it was dumb. Take him into the line of people.
Why would you take him to your... I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, why can't you just go back and just go forward? Because, like, as soon as he was like, oh, I need him to follow me back to Gotham. But it was extremely fast how this happened. I'm like, okay, this is a lot faster than I thought. Like, we're already in Gotham, I guess.
Apparently they're neighbors because, like, in the comics,
I thought there was, like, hours away from each other or something
They are.
like that.
In the comics, they are. Gotham is more like New York, whereas Metropolis is like LA. But in this universe, I guess the cities are literally right next to each other. Literally right next to each other.
Why did he come to Metropolis in his Bruce Wayne attire, not in his Batman attire, and start saving people? In the beginning of the movie.
I don't know.
He comes out of the chopper and he's like calling this guy named Jack, and then he's driving around, and I'm like, well, first of all, you could have come in on your Bat Jet, whatever the frick it's called. You could have gone to your Bat car in your Bat Jet if it's big enough, and just literally start saving some people. Or is it because it was daytime you couldn't?
I mean, I like that scene. I thought it was really well done with that little girl. I just wanted to like fucking eat her up and like take her in and hug her and make sure she was okay. I thought
towards children, everybody.
No. Like, I mean, like hug on her. Like, I felt like that there was good emotion in that scene. You could see, and that's why I say Ben Affleck plays a great Bruce Wayne.
Oh, like, yeah, I love him.
The emotional depth he plays in that role is wonderful. Even in the scenes like at where he's himself at the galas, right? He does play that role really well. It's just a shame some of the writing was so off in this. Like the most nefarious parts being Bruce Wayne and Superman being murderers. Like that's where I take issue.
Did they Clark knew he was Bruce Wayne, right?
Yeah, because he could hear mess up with how he can hear things, but he could hear Alfred.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I was trying to make sure. I'm like, wait, how did we find out again? I don't remember.
And how did not people find out at the end that Clark and Superman were the same person when they both died? It seems improbable that people wouldn't put two and two together, especially in the age of the internet.
Oh my gosh, did you hear? He died because he was trying to get the fight? And then he just died. Oh gosh. And I'm like, I mean, if you believe that, okay.
I did love though that what was it? Martha said he had this set here. He wanted it to be a surprise, and it was an engagement ring. I'm like, oh, so freaking cute.
Oh shoot, I missed that. I remember her handing her the envelope. And I think I looked away when she opened it. I was like,
it was an engagement ring.
Something happened. Oh,
I thought that was sweet, and
I
also thought
dating for
like 4 minutes, maybe 4.5.
Like, first you introduce Superman in the first movie, you kill him off in the second movie, and then you bring him back, and he turns almost evil-ish, whatever, in the final movie.
Superman was done dirty. For sure.
Where's the arc?
Yeah, it like, there's no justice for Superman in this entire series. They took so much from like Dark Knight's Return and Injustice Batman that I feel like Zack Snyder didn't know the side of Superman that most of America or most of the world knows when it comes to how he is, how he treats people, how he acts. I felt like he had a very cynical version of Superman, a very like no hope, which is the center to the character, in my opinion. Like, that aspirational side of Superman is what should always be conveyed first and foremost. And you give us this, like, emo, brooding Superman.
Also, they're trying to bring in his Kryptonian side in this way too much.
Way too much.
He's like, it's not from this world. It's from my world. And I'm like, you were literally just born there for like 10 minutes, bro. Yeah. Besides your dad telling you everything about it, you didn't experience anything. And your
world is
like,
Earth.
I'm Kryptonian. And something about in the news, like he doesn't, it was like the Jon Stewart show or something like that. And he was criticizing Superman, saying that he wasn't an American or something like that. And I'm like, what do you mean? You were raised here. I'm pretty sure you have your own like citizenship card or whatever you call it. I don't know. And John was like, yeah, you wear our flags, but you're not American. Okay. Or something like that. And I was like, wait, why is he? Because he's Kryptonian? biologically, but you
everything
were raised
about him is
here.
American. Exactly. Everything about he says is American is like apple pie and baseball, right? Like he is, but
Two
they
great
focus
things.
yes, and they focus on that side so much, even in Man of Steel, to make it seem like Jor-El is a superior father to Jonathan. Like there's so much writing issues with this that if they had gotten somebody that could really flesh out like and make him stand for the values he stands for in the comics, you know, not just truth, justice in the American way, but equality and compassion and empathy and inspiration. The bones are there. The fun is the great fight scenes are there, even though I still hate Batman's armor. I don't like it. He looks fat. He looks weird. But
maybe they put some extra padding in there or something to make it look thicker.
He was ripped as fuck, though.
Yeah.
Like, in the best way possible.
But I think Henry Cavill's arms in the suit, sometimes they look a little bit too bulky than the rest of his body. And I'm like, oh no, weird shot. Change the angle.
I thought the angle was funny when he was walking into the Capitol building before it blows up. And all you see is his boots. And the whole time, all I could think of is these boots were made for walking. Like, that's all I could think of.
How his suit was like too navy blue. And I'm like, can you just brighten it up? Just a little bit, just a smidge. Oh, it's so muted. Oh, I wanted to ask you, during the nightmare scene where Clark is talking to Bruce saying, you know, you took everything from me, Lois Lane, was his suit black or was it just a darker navy blue because of the lighting or something?
It was just darker. Yeah, like he comes in and just chops 7-10 people in half. Like, yeah, but it was just darker. They don't introduce the black suit until Justice League. Yeah, and then it's nonsensical because they don't explain anything about it. Initially, it's supposed to be for a recovery suit. It's supposed to help him hone the yellow sun in a proper fashion. But they're just like, it looks good. It looks good, guys, so we're going to use it.
Because it's black.
Yeah. He needed the mullet, though. The mullet would have topped it off.
Oh, the long hair would have been good. So good.
That would have been hilarious. Oh, yeah, but overall, like, this movie was much more enjoyable.
Yeah, I was thinking... I'm glad it was still enjoyable for me because I was like... oh gosh, now that I saw Man of Steel and now I know the context, I'm probably going to hate this movie now. And I'm like, no, I'm still enjoying it despite still having so many flaws.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm glad I watched it again because I did get more out of it than I did the first time, where the first time I just was like rolling my eyes the whole time. This time I can see what they were going for, even if it was different characters than what I'm used to. So what would you give it?
I'll give it 5.5 Batman butts out of 10.
Ooh. I would give it, you know what? I enjoyed the Wonder Woman stuff so much, I'd give it a 6. Wonder Woman was great. She always will be great. I love her. Wonder Woman is superior. When will you mend this?
Your audio cut off when you said that.
Of course it did, because I was making fun of men.
No. We should still somewhat hear what you said, though.
Gotta love this mic. Oh my goodness. But yeah, much better. Is there anything we missed before we wrap up that you can think of? I had a list of, I wrote down a list of all the scenes I wanted to talk about, so I made sure.
I have a feeling The Rock has been hinting at Henry Cavill.
Are you going to see Black Adam?
I will be seeing Black Adam, of course.
Yes, I am going to see it too, and I really hope, even if it's just one, end credit scene, we get something. Henry deserves to have a good Superman movie.
Mm-hmm. A proper one.
Yes, and Black Adam versus Superman could be a very good story too, depending on where they go with Black Adam. Like, if they make him full-fledged evil, I'm all about that. Like, I love the way that this movie looks so far. I'm so excited for Black Adam. I haven't been to the theater since the Batman. I only go like once or twice a year to see movies, so I'm excited.
what was I going to say? There was something else I was going to say. No. Oh, funny enough, for the Batman versus Superman, like when he first killed Zod, I didn't feel anything. And I'm like, well, it's not like you were passive the entire movie. So, you know, I can't really feel you like actually being sad just for killing somebody. But in this second movie, even he had to express so many times, oh, I didn't kill him, I didn't kill him, I didn't kill him. And then he's just seeing people die around him and he's just crying and stuff. And I'm like, see, this is what I wanted. I wanted this in the first movie. So that in the first movie, while you are completely passive and you're seeing everybody dying around you, you actually feel something.
Yep. I agree 100%.
But they decided to go to the opposite route. And I'm like, no, it doesn't feel it doesn't feel like anything. Like, think about it. You're passive, you know. You're saving everybody. You're doing everything good and right and just. And then, boom, everything goes all to hell. And it just ruins you. But when you bring the hell first, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I totally get it. I do wish they'd have showed him saving people more, but...
Lois Lane.
Yeah, it was just Lois. I'm pretty sure it was just Lois again. There
was the news. He saw was happening on the news. I think it was in Mexico.
Yes, you're right.
They added Telemundo, and I was like, "Yo, this audio is so bad. What is this?" And then I see Telemundo, and I'm like, "That makes sense." And then you see him go to Mexico, the Day of the Dead celebration, and he rescues this girl. And you know, I remember the whole reaching out for him, and I was like, yo, you people are crazy. And the thing is, like, I didn't get the context. Now that I found out they're all Hispanics and not white people, I'm like, okay, that makes more sense.
They actually showed him, now that you mentioned that one, they showed him saving somebody that was flooded also, where they had like the white Superman symbol on the top and he's flying down and it's a really pretty scene. They showed that too. So yeah, to be fair, he did save more people.
I almost actually cried at that. And I'm like, this is what I wanted. Yeah. I wanted more of this in the first movie. And you didn't give me it.
Yeah, I guess it's better late than never, but still, like,
they're dead, so.
Yeah, he's dead now, yeah. So it doesn't matter. It was definitely better. They definitely improved upon where they lacked in the first. Mm-hmm. There were some things that could be.
He just got this job and he dies.
Poor cart planet. That's too funny. Okay, guys, we are going to wrap up. Make sure you guys check out Bianca's channel. It will be in the link in the description. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.